housing project in Lancaster County.
Now, live from your local news source, this is ABC 27 News at 5.
Good evening. I'm Valerie Pritchett.
I'm Alicia Richards. So glad you're with us tonight. Ghost guns cannot be traced, and you could make them yourself right in your living room.
Well, there is a bill at the state capitol to stop the sales. The chances of it becoming law, not so good, prompting one advocate to take aim on a different level. Sarah Wilson joins us now live with more. Sarah.
Alicia, Valerie, not necessarily a new debate, but these are firearms that don't have serial numbers, which is why it's nearly impossible for law enforcement to track them down if they're used in a crime. It's a problem that's haunted Pennsylvania.
These kits can be bought online without for need of any background check. Right?
Brendan Flood with Ceasefire PA is talking about ghost guns. He's successfully lobbied the State House to ban the purchase, sale, and production of them.
This is a real, tangible solution to address crime.
But that bill is stuck in the Republican-controlled Senate, and Flood knows it will likely be shot down. That's why he's going a step farther.
We're going to various municipalities in order to get them to introduce ordinances.
They can't sell it to the people, and so they're trying to circumvent that by going to all the to the gun control strongholds.
Gun right activists are firing back, challenging the bill in the state Supreme Court. No ruling yet.
Our preemption law says that municipalities may not take action on firearms by themselves. That's a direct violation of our laws.
You know, I'm going to push back on Leader Cutler, but let's leave that up to the courts.
Cities like Philadelphia have already adopted it, and it's possible York and Harrisburg could too.
It would create an absolute nightmare for lawful citizens who are simply trying to defend themselves and their loved ones from criminal attack.
Ceasefire PA has also pushed for Lancaster to pass it. The mayor says that's not an option, at least while it's in court.
That's really what it comes down to. Quite unfortunately, we don't have the financial bandwidth at this moment.
You heard us mention Harrisburg. Harrisburg City Council will hold a special session to discuss this on Tuesday. Meantime, the U.S. Supreme Court agreed to take up a case from the Biden administration deciding if ghost guns require background checks. Alicia, they do not right now.
All right, Sarah, thanks so much. A man wanted for homicide in Dauphin County is in custody. U.S. Marshals found Keir Hashawn Sims in York. He is a suspect in last month's death of Otilio Lugo Rivera. Police say the two men got into a fight at the Hideout Lounge in Steelton, and Lugo Rivera's head was smashed into a wall, killing him. A canceled anti-bullying assembly in the Cumberland Valley School District is back on. The school board reversed its decision last week to cancel the event because the featured speaker is gay. He is TV star and author Malik Pancholi. There was a lot of local backlash and national coverage, and last night hundreds of people packed into the high school theater for hours of public comment. That meeting lasted almost 6 hours. Again, the assembly is back on. It's May 22nd, and we'll bring you full coverage at 6.
A cargo ship has passed through a newly opened channel in Baltimore after being stuck for the last month. Now, the ship trapped when the Francis Scott Key Bridge fell 4 weeks ago after a ship collided with it. 2 tugboats guided this cargo ship through the channel. The voyage is an important step in the cleanup effort. The ship, one of 5 stranded vessels. A few of us have ridden in an electric car. Almost none of us have ridden in an electric school bus. And that changed for Seth Kaplan, and it's about to change for some mid-state children, too.
Teacher's here.
It is.
When you've been driving school buses as long as Michelle Strohecker, it's not every day you get to do something entirely new. But this day is one of those days. A half dozen electric school buses for the Steelton High Spire School District. No diesel plumes or fumes.
And they're very quiet. So very, very quiet.
In fact, that turn signal is about the only thing you can hear on this bus. A bus this quiet does come with certain side effects. One of them serious. one of them kind of funny. Start with that one.
Obviously, as bus drivers, we'll be able to hear a lot more of what's going on as well.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, we have warned them. So, yeah, we will be able to hear your conversations now.
And loud buses won't cue procrastinators to run out of the house at the last minute.
So the kids will have to make sure that they are at the bus stop on time and not listen for the bus coming.
And even more seriously, one less warning for grown-ups that a school bus is nearby.
You have to be aware that there's a changing environment, and the environment's getting quieter, which I think we'll all appreciate, but there's some issues you need to address and be aware of as that occurs.
Battery life, which has scared away some would-be electric car buyers, not an issue, says First Student Head of Electrification, Kevin Matthews.
School buses are ideally suited for electrification. We know how much we're going to run in the morning, we know how much we're going to run in the afternoon. And so we can design the batteries to accommodate specifically that route.
Similar to electric cars or maybe a golf cart in this way.
The engine's doing a lot of the braking for us. So there's minimal use of the brakes.
We're seeing electric cars more and more, but electric buses, but it actually is common in other states.
Someday, perhaps in PA too, starting with this district, thanks to a grant announced by leaders here.
We're the only district in Pennsylvania that can claim 100% solar.
Both that and now this.
And I just found out yesterday, we're potentially the only school district in the United States that can claim that.
Soon anyway, with these coming to a bus stop near you as soon as a couple of weeks from now. At Steel High, Seth Kaplan, ABC 27 News.
All right, thank you, Seth. State regulators are scrutinizing a large proposed rate hike by First Energy Electric Company. The Public Utility Commission says the company wants a 30% increase in annual revenue. The proposal from earlier this month will be frozen for up to 7 months while this is considered. First Energy provides power to 2 million Pennsylvanians and operates under the names MedEd, Penelec, and more.
A massive housing project is being built in Lancaster County. People will soon move into hundreds of apartment units, but there are some concerns from neighbors. Evan Pa is joining us now live from Mannheim Township with more. Evan.
Valerie, 8 apartment buildings are being built here in Mannheim Township, and the township says there's a demand for this type of housing, but neighbors deem it unsafe and not necessary.
We look at apartment homes as probably being underserved, that we don't have enough of those units here in the township.
A big need about to be filled.
It's about 200 apartment units.
Being built right off Route 30 and New Holland Avenue. Some neighbors aren't all in.
We're really concerned about the traffic that's going to be going through the neighborhood.
Adam Hosey lives near the new Grandview Strands apartment buildings. He has a 5- and 7-year-old. He says more safety measures need to be taken.
As they are growing up, they're going to be on their bikes more, they're going to be walking around more, and we just wish there were some traffic calming measures that were instituted to slow down drivers.
Neighbors are concerned about a road being built by J.C. Park, which apartment residents will use to get into the complex. Many families take their kids to that park.
So will this new roadway coming out increase traffic passing the park on the north side? It absolutely will.
But the township says there is a plan to slow traffic down.
We're going to get a 4-way stop there with a raised or elevated intersection profile to help with speed control. They're widening out the intersection there. They're taking some of the vegetation down, putting in all new curbs, sidewalks, some of which does not exist right now.
There's going to be a lot more traffic, and even the folks in the newer part of Grandview over there, they were told that nothing would go in behind them. It was one of the selling points.
The newer Grandview family homes are separated from the apartment complex by a wetlands, which the township will be acquiring from the developer.
The new 13 acres will tie into our existing J.C. Park. That will more than double the size of that park. When that land is dedicated to the township as park space, as open land, it will already be improved, so they're putting walking trails and things of that nature in that 13 acres.
Now, not all of the buildings will be finished at the same time. Mannheim Township Manager Rick Kane says residents should start moving in the summertime. In Mannheim Township, Evan Pa, ABC 27 News.
All right, thanks, Evan. Senator Bob Casey was in the Mid-State today. He hosted a roundtable discussion with veterans in Harrisburg. Casey calls it a way to hear from PA vets about issues they are facing. He also touted his record supporting veterans. Afterward, he discussed his campaign and his push to hold companies accountable for jacking up prices while turning record profits. Casey calls it greedflation and says his opponent, Republican Dave McCormick, will do nothing about it.
If these big companies are mad at me now, I've got news for them. They're going to be really mad at me, and they're going to campaign against me. That's why he's got billionaires coming into this state, out-of-state billionaires coming into this state to help an out-of-state candidate.
Casey also picked up an endorsement this afternoon from the State Education Association, which was expected.
The Republican candidates running statewide held a series of campaign kickoff rallies today, starting at a suburban Harrisburg microbrewery. As Dennis Owens reports, they stuck to the familiar themes but failed to mention a very familiar name.
Thank you for supporting all of our statewide candidates.
A Republican campaign kickoff with energy.
I won my primary, so I'm really excited today.
A hint of comedy.
We got one senator who won't wear a suit, and we got another senator who's an empty suit, right? And we got to change that.
And a glimpse into strategy. Stick to inflation and immigration. Blame Joe Biden, Bob Casey, and Democrats.
Those feel-good politics don't work. And all you have to do is drive to the gas station or at the grocery store to see this.
Treasurer Stacey Garrity, Auditor General Tim DeFore, and Attorney General candidate Dave Sunday making their case.
If our communities are not safe, then nothing else matters.
But U.S. Senate candidate Dave McCormick, the headliner.
You're here for the same reason I'm here, which is we're terrified.
This is the first of several group rallies.
It's a team sport. We're going to win as a team.
But a fifth Republican statewide teammate was not on stage, and President Trump wasn't mentioned once by any candidate, though he will impact the races.
I honestly think President Trump will get out the vote. He has historically. He's got a huge following, and so I think I will benefit from that. I think statewide candidates will benefit from that.
Republican candidates have an interesting straddle. Attract the pro-Trumpers, don't alienate the never-Trumpers. Perhaps that's why the Trump name never came up.
You know, I'm my own guy. I'm running my own campaign. I welcomed President Trump as the nominee. I'll certainly support his efforts, but I'm running to represent Pennsylvania as an independent man who's fighting for the people of Pennsylvania.
So I think he'll absolutely drive voter turnout, which will be good for the rest of us. And think about it, last time he lost, I won, so I don't think it's necessarily totally tied together.
The candidates certainly have energy. The voters, well, they just voted on Tuesday, or accurately, didn't, and the general election isn't until November 5th. In Dauphin County, Dennis Owens, ABC 27 News.
Thank you, Dennis. Still ahead on ABC 27 News at 5, an event in Lancaster County is giving runners the chance to speak out against racism.
The Pocono Mountains is a four-season destination with endless fun. From luxurious resorts to outdoor adventure and small-town charm, there is something for everyone. We get ideas for planning your next getaway tomorrow at 10 here on Good Day PA.